Rural Ireland, and a few miles from the small town of Westport on the shores of the Western Ocean, lie the moors and tarns of Murrisk. Here in the County of Mayo, once called the Field of Spring in Gaelic, people lead unhurried lives, where time is judged by the passing seasons and the demands of the land. Yet for one day each year, all this changes. Across the bay to the hills of Murray-Shule, a mountain rises from the moors and bogland. It's called Croagh Patrick, and for 24 hours each summer, it's the holiest spot in Ireland. A tiny path beside a pub is the start of an annual pilgrimage to climb the mountain of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. 70,000 people will struggle 2,500 feet up to the peak and down again, and they will suffer for most of the way. Some began at first light, and because the climb is dangerous, ambulances wait at the bottom to carry away the injured.
I haven't got them. Apostle of Penance has got them. Over.
Oh, she can
The grafters are here, of course, with their trinkets, holy relics, and the bric-a-brac of faith, pimping off the belief held by Irish Catholics that at least once in a lifetime they must climb Croagh Patrick as a penance for their sins. For local people, the more who believe that, the better. There's fish and chips to sustain you, a fine trade in drinks and fruit, or else you can buy a walking stick for 10p a time. All of which seems to offend the Archbishop of Tuam, who realised that St. Patrick was made of sterner stuff.
Anybody else now for the beautiful Oliver Plunkett pictures? Hand-painting pictures of Blessed Oliver Plunkett. Anybody else now for them? That is the advertised price during the week, 75p, only 50p here. A guinea's worth for 50p.
According to the legend, the saint came here in 441 AD during his missionary travels in Ireland. He scaled the mountain and lived on its summit without food or water for 40 days and 40 nights to pray for the folly of man. Today, his statue at the start of the tortuous climb is the first stop for pilgrims who must circle it and chant their prayers. Then ahead of you, stretching out like a column of marching ants, are the people of every age and class, suffering like the countless millions who've taken this path for the past 1,500 years. Some walk in more deliberate pain as an extra penance, in bare feet which become raw and swollen before the journey is over. The further you get, the steeper the climb. On my way up, I looked with envy at people coming down and wondered at every stage of the journey whether I'd actually make it to the top.
I say it's easier coming down.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
How do you feel now? You've been right to the top and
I
back.
have, yes. This is me. This is the 32nd time I was up.
The 32nd time?
32 times I was out of a stop.
You do it every year then?
Every year.
Do you mind me asking why you do it?
Well, first year I did it for a kind of penance. And when you get going at it then, you'll keep it up for much the same thing, like, you know, it's a good penance, a good spiritual tonic once a year.
You feel good when you've done
you
it?
definitely would, yes.
I feel rotten at the moment.
You do it, yeah. I know, you feel quite good after doing it.
All right, I assure you.
First 20 years is the hardest stuff.
First 20 years?
First 20 years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The route becomes stonier nearer to the peak, and along the pathway, people in bare feet share the route with others in the very latest plastic boots. A steady succession of volunteer rescue workers, mainly from the Knights of Malta, are also on their journey to the top.
Yeah. Have you had any casualties so far?
No, we haven't. Not yet. We're only on the way up.
I see. How often do you come up?
Every year.
Do you? Yeah. What, do you get a lot of people who get injured here?
Yeah, there's a fair few.
What happens to them?
Falls, cuts on the legs, arms.
Yeah.
Face. Things like that.
Sorry?
It's cut across the face.
I see. And you go right to the top, do you?
Yeah.
Well, look, stick by me, will you? Just in case. All of you. Yeah.
Up until 2 years ago, the pilgrims always climbed in the dark. But due to the number of injuries, often inspired by the fact that the pubs below stayed open through the night, people now climb in the day, which is a mixed blessing, because now you can see just how far you've got to go. The injured who've slipped and have broken their limbs on the rocks pass you on the way down. Others slowly pick their way, searching for smooth rocks or grass to ease the pain of every step. A young girl reaches the hardest part of the climb, and this is where the elderly and the very young really wonder if they've enough strength to carry on. How can you do this in your bare feet? I mean, I'm absolutely exhausted now, and you've walked all the way up with your bare feet. What do you feel like?
Oh, quite fresh after all the journey.
What about your feet? Are they in a bad condition?
No, they're a wee bit sore, you know, that's just
And why do you do it? Why do you come?
Well, we like to make this pilgrimage. It's been a custom all the years.
And it's a greater penance to do it.
Yeah, it is.
With yes. And
Wonderful.
And do you feel better when you've finished it?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. And then
so.
you can sin again for another year.
Yeah. I think we get near heaven when we get up here.
Yes, I think we all deserve a place in heaven at the moment, actually. It seems like you'll never make the last few steps. You get up a 2,500-foot mountain, but this is the top. Well, I feel shattered. Feet are aching, shoes are ripped down here. But this is why we're all here. This is the chapel, and this is the place where St. Patrick spent 40 days and 40 nights to repent for the sins of the world.
Happy are those who are called to his supper.
An oratory has stood here for over 1,000 years. The latest one was completed in 1905. Throughout the day, pilgrims celebrate a constant series of masses held by a relay of priests, and they walk around the oratory chanting their prayers and creeds. The grafters, of course, have made it to the top as well, manhandling sacks of orange juice, which they sell for 50p a bottle.
How did you get all this stuff up here?
Well, we bring most of it up here by donkey, and we carry the most of it ourselves, like, you know. It comes so far by donkey, you see.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, we carried from there up.
On your backs?
On our backs, yeah.
How long did it take you?
A whole week.
Really?
Yeah.
Every day?
Every day, yeah.
And how many bottles did you bring up? How many bottles did you bring up?
At a time, is it?
Yeah. No, altogether?
Altogether. About 100.
This is the Holy of Holies, St. Patrick's bed, where pilgrims believe the saint rested during his stay on the peak. They break up stones from the bed and carry them off to rest in state on mantelpieces throughout the land. For most, this is a holy, solemn moment. Most of the pilgrims spend about an hour on the summit. Then, as the mists come down, they begin the long journey to the base of the mountain. This is the most dangerous part of the entire two-way journey, slipping and sliding through the loose shale with sharp rocks cutting into your feet.
see we'll be heading on.
No. Right, lad, lower now and take it easy.
Most of the injuries are caused here. Tired limbs give way and you fall into the stones. The unpaid rescue workers must now manhandle this girl all the way down the mountain. It's a strange excursion for so many countless millions of Irish Catholics to have undertaken through the ages. It comes from the teaching of their church, which believes in penance as a tribute to God, that this journey is a symbol of Ireland's faith in its religion and in its nationhood too. It's near now to the end of the 2-hour downward journey, and a stream offers some relief.
Well, we know you're tired and we don't want to take up your time. If you would like to take home some 3-in-1 souvenir pictures, all price, half price, have a look now and see for yourself.
Meanwhile, the grafters are still at it, flogging their religious hardware to tired pilgrims and apparently doing a roaring trade.
Have a look now before you leave the Reek for 1975.
At the foot of the mountain, yet another stretcher case is brought down. The daily toll for this pilgrimage was 22 injured, 3 seriously and detained in hospital with fractured skulls and broken limbs. The others were treated for cuts and abrasions. And as the coaches leave, taking people home to the 4 corners of Ireland, the mountain waits for yet another year, when the faithful will return to punish themselves in an obedient sacrifice to God.